Hello guys, this is Donald's Movies, and today I'll be doing a top 5 list. Well, not really a top 5, because I'm not really putting them like in order of significance, but rather just a list. So, since I've been doing the Q&A, like the Q&A series, for around half a year, just a bit more than that, I've gotten a lot of questions. And a lot of them can get quite repetitive, mostly because there are a few sections in the lore that are not fully explained or even barely explained. So a lot of people speculate things and like have their own opinions about it. So I thought I'd give you 5 of these very common speculations and the most popular ones. Even though there is a lot more, but yeah, these are mostly just the popular ones. So, number 1. The thing under Tirisfal. So, probably something I've answered more than like 10 times in the Q&As by now, and has also vaguely been addressed by Blizzard. So, this happens in Tirisfal, or more specifically, the Whispering Forest in Tirisfal, and the moment you enter, you notice it's a bit odd. Like, there is a small forest and a lake, and inside the lake there is like a crashed plane, while on a tiny island that is on the lake is like a skeleton of a fisher and some of his gear and a bunch of like things thrown around. Now the interesting stuff actually happens inside the forest, as there is this really odd like mushroom circle in the middle of it, and around it fly these like fey drunk darters, and everywhere in the forest you can see these infected creatures, also like rats, like bats and all these other little critters. Now, every once in a while, an event happens there. I don't think anyone knows the exact time, but I believe it's like every 6 hours or something. And it is said that these darters spawn, and once there are like 7 of them, you wait. And then this like weird ritual happens. They start like chanting and channeling something around the circle, which no one at the time knows what it is. Now, this brings on a lot of questions, whether there is an old god there, or whatever is happening, and actually, this zone, when I think about it, has been mentioned before. When the High Elves came to this continent, it is believed that the Whispering Forest is where they landed first, and after that they had to move up as it was kind of driving them insane, and this is actually a direct quote from the founding of Kultalas. His fleet finally landed on the beaches of the kingdom men would later call Lordran. Forging inland, the High Elves founded a settlement within the tranquil Tirisfal glades. After a few years, many of them began to go mad. It was theorized that something evil slept beneath a particular part of the world, but the rumors were never proven to be true. The High Elves pack up their encampment and move northward towards another land ridge with ley energies. So, as you can tell, something is definitely going on there, and a lot of people speculate, as I said, that there is an old god there, but it was actually confirmed by Blizzard not that long ago that it's not an old god, but it's actually something unsettling. And it is also speculated that it can be the Chamber of Crassus, which was mentioned in the Day of the Dragon, or it might even be related to the Emerald Nightmare, which in my opinion kinda makes the most sense, mostly due to these fairy dragons and rituals and all that stuff. And in my opinion, as I answered this a lot of times by now, I think it's one of those things that Blizzard kind of puts in, even though they don't even know what it is themselves, and just want to make something out of it. So on BlizzCon 2013, they said that Sylvanas will get her story afterwards, most likely after Worlds of Draenor, like the spotlight would be on her. So if the expansion is around Tirisfal Glades, this mysterious thing might even play a role in it, but as of right now, no one really knows what it is, and it is just a speculation. Number 2. The other side of Azeroth. Now this one is not too spoken about, but it is actually really interesting when you think about it. And in my opinion, if not the most interesting of all of these. So as we know, the map of Azeroth is flat as we can see it, like there is Kalimdor on the left, Eastern Kingdoms on the right, Northern on the top, and Pandaria on the bottom. But that is about how much we actually know, and there is a reason why every time when you go from Kalimdor to Eastern Kingdom, you go directly and not on the other side, like the west side. And it is said that the travelers that sailed to the other side never actually returned. And last year, this question was asked on BlizzCon by the red shirt guy, and the response was actually quite interesting. Chris Metzen said that it is entirely possible that we might even see it in a new expansion, and that there is a new continent there or something like that. And even though he said that they actually had globes with the map of Azeroth in Ulduar and Northrend, he said that those things were just some things that the environmental artists added, and not like the true representations of lore. So another side of the world is actually entirely possible. Also, when you look at it, all of the southern parts of Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdom are like these deserts and jungles. And also when you look at Pandaria, I mean, if the world was round, wouldn't it have the same climate as Northern and Pandaria? I mean, the Northern and Pandaria here are completely different, which is a bit weird. And even though we're going to like all these different worlds, we might even go to Argus at some point, It might even be true that we haven't even discovered Azeroth as it is, and there might be an entire other side to it. Number 3. Alleria and Turalyon. Now this is probably the most popular one and the most talked about, and it's the years old mystery of Alleria and Turalyon. Now, Turalyon is a paladin and also the High General of the Sons of Lothar, while Alleria is Sylvanas' sister and also Turalyon's wife, and they went together to Outland to save the world of Azeroth in the Beyond the Dark Portal expansion, which was Warcraft 2, but it was also in a book, with many other people like Khadgar and Kurdran and Wildhammer, but the only difference is that Kurdran and Khadgar have actually returned and we've seen them, yet no one knows where Alleria and Turalyon are, and there was this tip added in Cataclysm like a few years back, and it says no one has seen Turalyon and Alleria for years. And even though we pretty much looked around the entire ruin of Draenor, they haven't been spotted at all, and now there are a lot of speculations going on. At the last BlizzCon, it was said that we will see them definitely, but it won't be in Warlords of Draenor and will most likely be afterwards. So my guess is that when we see them, it will be in like a Burning Legion expansion, and most likely if you ever go to Argus, which is actually the original world of the Eredar, and also where the Draenei escaped from, and today it's considered to be ruined and to be one of the main bases of the Burning Legion. Now, people think that they've teleported there or transported in a way, but truly no one except Blizzard knows where they are, and I do hope we see them, and if you ever see them, I hope it will be at least in a really good storyline. Number 4. The Isle of Kezan. Now, first introduced in Cataclysm in the starting zone, and after a few hours of playtime, it was never seen again, but yet it is speculated that it still exists and that it will be rebuilt one day. So Kezan was like the center of the Goblin civilization and a pretty interesting zone in my opinion. But since the entire Cataclysm, the island was destroyed and the Goblins that were there joined the Horde and left the island and pretty much never returned. But on BlizzCon Q&A, it was said that we will go back to Kezan in like an unknown point in time, and that it might even be rebuilt at some point. Now, no one knows if this is actually true, as Blizzard promises a lot of stuff, but they never actually deliver it. But if it is, in my opinion, it would be really cool, as it might even mean that the Goblins will rebuild their homeland, and that we might even get an additional zone, like a endgame zone or something like that, and that we might even get like a city for the future, like a faction hub or something like that. My speculation, honestly, is that it will happen around the time the Naga expansion is released, if it ever is, like the Shara expansion, because the Isle of Kezan would be kinda close and could be one of the bases on the land. But at this point, it's honestly just a speculation and no one really knows if this will even happen at all. And lastly, number 5. Is Illidan still alive or will he return? This is actually a big one and probably the most popular and discussed one. Now, unlike the other I mentioned that probably don't even have that much information, this one is completely opposite, as Illidan is probably one of the most described and the biggest lore figures in the game right now, and there is a ton of information about him, and a lot of people have different opinions on him and either see him as a misunderstood hero or just a villain, but in my opinion he's sort of the both. Now, in the Burning Crusade, he was the end boss and we actually killed him, but it has been speculated that he will return, and even Blizzard themselves said that they loved his character and that they also love redemption stories and that they will try to bring him back due to the popular demand, so he might even be in the game at one point. But generally he actually was killed, but the thing is, he was mostly a demon at the time, not really a night elf, meaning that he's probably in the Twisting Nether where he's regenerating, even though that might not even be the case, but nevertheless he's an awesome character and a big lore figure, and I guess Blizzard likes him and we'll probably see him in the game, and if you do, I really do hope he's on our side. And that is all I have for this list. Thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to leave some feedback on what you think and what you would like to see next. Also, don't forget to like, favorite and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel a lot and keeps all these videos going. And you can also check out my Twitch, where I stream a few games few times a week. And also there is an entire point system there, and I explained pretty much everything in one of my previous videos about it. And anyways, thanks so much for taking your time to watch this video, and see you next time.